Good afternoon, everybody. Come on in. Real Talk with Mary Grace. It's Monday, the 7th of June, 2021. Let's see who's here. Here we go. I see people coming in. Good to see everybody. Sometimes we have a delay on YouTube, and we'll see what happens here. There we go. YouTube is up. Good. So as you're coming in, please say hello. Please give a thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. You have to do that either when you come for the replay or when you come for the show. Either way, make sure you hit the replay or hit the thumbs up. Good to see everybody. So let's see. Hey there, Remy. Okay, Facebook, please. Hey, Christina. All right, Facebook, please share in groups, and then also please what do you call it? Tag people. I'm reading the comments while I'm talking to you. And let's remember, we are self-censoring so that the bots and the AI doesn't do it for us. And let's just help people. Hey, Marissa, I haven't seen you in so long. Let's just help people. Let's make sure that we're using Real 45 and Faker 46, and that we're not even typing those names in the chat, because the socialist media censors don't like that, and it triggers them. And then we're also using Phony Tony instead of that other name for the 4-foot homicidal guy that's supposed to be a scientist. Okay. Yeah. All right. And Jabberwocky for that thing that people are taking and they're worried about. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So Phony Tony, what did we say? 4-foot narcissistic, homicidal, sociopath. What else? It's all piling on. All right. Yeah, so Phony Tony, Faker 46, Real 45. I can't even give him, listen, some people give this person diminutive names. That implies that there's a shred of cuteness or something lovable about him. There's not. That's why I mean, I get that you guys are coming up with these names, but you can't do that. I can't do that. You can do whatever you want, but I can't do that because I have, there's nothing about him that implies that there's anything lovable. I mean, this is a monster. This is baby Mengele, okay? This is who we're dealing with. We're dealing with a sociopathic, official, what do you call it? Homicidal maniac. So, yeah, we're not giving him any cute, diminutive, lovable names. He can't be a gnome in my book. You can call him a gnome if you want. I can't do that. I just can't, because he's destroyed so many lives. And I was reading recently, just over the weekend, I was reading a little bit about World War II and some of the atrocities that were committed, by the Nazis. Can we use that word? And their techniques, their tactics, their mindset. I think it's important always to remember that their agenda was always death. And, whether it was extinguishing the Jews, whether it was exterminating the less desirable, whether it was getting rid of the useless eaters, whether it was sterilizing the simple-minded, whatever they did, it was anti-life. And so the agenda that you're seeing carried out today in all of these radical extreme ideals that are being pushed, whether it's, changing, I can't say the words, whether it's, indoctrinating children to think that they were born, that there's something other than the genetics that God gave them. That's, mutilating them and making it impossible for them actually to reproduce. That's another step in the same vein of just, destroying life. And everything that they do is anti-life. And so I refuse to give him a name that implies anything lovable or funny or cute, because he's not. He's not any of that. And I knew it. I knew it last year when they were saying that they needed more time for people to stay home and shut down their businesses, that if you were non-essential, right? That he said, "Oh, I get that it's an inconvenience." Shutting down your whole life and your livelihood is not an inconvenience. That was the big moment. That was the aha moment for me when I knew that we were dealing with a sociopath. And if you go back and you look at some of the videos of Real 45 watching him and being on the podium with him, you can see Real 45 giving him the side eye. I mean, he knew pretty much from the start that we were dealing with the baby Mangala up there. And so obviously there are reasons. There are reasons because for why Real 45 did what he did. And I've been over a lot of those. And I think that one day, I hope that those of you who are scared about the Jabberwocky and who think that Real 45 was in on it and part of some nefarious plan to depopulate the planet through that, I hope that one day you'll really understand when he says that this thing saved the world and saved tens of millions of lives. I hope that one day you will either have a revelation of that, or that when the truth comes out, you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see exactly what it is that he saved us from. Because I firmly believe that A, we would be on a never-ending, forever lockdown, and that only the select few would ever be deemed essential again, and that wouldn't be you or me, and that we would be careening toward, if not already in, a complete communist society in this country. I also believe that he did thwart a mass casualty event. And so I want you to have perspective when you're thinking about the Jabberwocky and the potential damage that it does. I want you to understand that it would have been mandatory, no questions asked. And I also want you to understand that I believe that there was a much bigger threat. And I'm not going to go over again why I think that he's telling you to take it, okay? I've gone over this a lot. So go back and watch past shows. If somebody can remember which episodes I've gone into great detail about this. But I want you to understand that they had the country up against a wall, and they had Real 45 up against a wall. And I believe that they were threatening something far more sinister, if you can believe it, and far worse, which is why he deployed the military hospitals, why we had heightened alert all over our border. I mean, let's just be real. Our country was attacked. This was a chemical bioweapon attack. This was a Pearl Harbor released from a lab. Okay, Marissa, I think it was more than just his family. I think that there was a threat. For example, give us more than 15 days or else we'll do something else that is going to result in far worse numbers. That projection that they put out of 2.2 million, I believe that was actually a threat. And I think that we just have to understand, we have to get perspective on this. I am not in any way saying that that we that we want everybody to get this thing. But I will tell you that there are fewer people than you realize who are getting the Jabberwocky. I also feel like there has to be a plan to help those people, because there's no way that I cannot imagine a scenario in which, President Trump, Real 45 would would endorse this many people. But again, you have to understand in war, sometimes you have to weigh the casualties. Do you ever want casualties? No, you don't. But you have to weigh 2.2 million or more, tens of millions of people. That's what he always says. Tens of millions of people are saved. We saved the world. All right? So just remember that. Keep that in mind. You have to keep perspective. All right? I pray that there's an antidote. I have a feeling there probably is. So, as much as possible, if you can keep your family or friends from going ahead with this, then please do. But just, don't worry. And one of the reasons that I want you to be careful about what your focus is on is that, if we don't fix the election, then you're never then this thing, the Jabberwocky, is going to be the least of your worries, because if we don't fix this, then we are never going to have a choice pretty much of anything again. I hope that you understand that. And so a lot of the stuff that's coming out now in the news is really just distraction. And so, if you're off chasing stories about something that you really don't have any control over, and you're not getting involved locally, and you're not dealing with what's going on at your child's school, and you're not aware of what's going on, and you're not taking action, then you're missing the point here, because it's yes, it's important to understand what happens and what's happening around the Jabberwocky, but you can get so focused on that. Again, there's nothing you can do about it right now. We don't have control over that situation. And so, and the people who are pushing all of this narrative, all of the propaganda, also, I think a lot of the purveyors of information who are wanting your attention on that, I have to say that some of them are put there to distract you from the real key situation. Yes, aliens is a distraction, but there's a lot happening with these audits. There's a lot going on, and a delegation from Pennsylvania went to Arizona last week. A delegation from Georgia is going, I believe, this week. They just announced it. So, I really want you to stay focused on this, because this is. I mean, you can grieve and you can be sad for the things that are happening to people. I get that. I understand. It's concerning, but this is where having perspective and staying focused on what's important, on the bigger picture, is so important. And again, look at the potential losses that we dodged because of the decisions that Real 45 made. I always want you to come back to that. I want you to go back to the beginning of 2020 in your mind, and I want you to say, okay, 2.2 million, that was a threat. That was a threat to our nation. There were bigger numbers, tens of millions, saved the world. I want to know and pray for guidance on this. This is what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on the bigger picture and the bigger tragedy that was avoided. Now, let me move to some other things. Here's the situation. All right. Delia says the Georgia delegation will be in Arizona tomorrow. Yay. That's awesome. And also, it looks like the count in Arizona is the forensic audit is going to be finished. Is going to be finished on Wednesday, because they've been working around the clock. And this is fantastic. This is really good news. And they also said that they're going to, I believe they want to continue this, carry on, and do the down ballot races. So there's just a lot happening right now. And I was actually I went camping last night, and I went last minute. I went to this place that I like to go that's kind of off the grid, and I was out on the lake on my board, and I was just paddling around, and I thought that it was kind of cool because it's so easy to let all of this stuff drain your energy and grab your attention 24/7. And the Lord just whispered to me. He said, "You know, you have to focus on the good things that are happening. You can't just um, camp out in all of this stuff that's in the news, because that's not all that's real." And so what he was saying to me is saying, you know, that the verse, all that is good, all that is right. Is that from Corinthians? I didn't even look it up yet. Um, I know the song. All that is good, all that is right. Do you know that song? That's how does it go? All that is good. It's a Twyla Paris song, long old song. All that is right, all that is pure, just justice and light. Philippians 4:6. Thank you. Um, okay, so that was the whole point, was that we are the ones who bring um peace, and we're the ones who bring uh the attitudes that should prevail. And so it's so important. It's so important to really, you know, not just to have to get away. Here we go. Finally, brethren, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good repute, if there is any excellence and if anything worthy of praise, dwell on those things. Okay. So that's what he was saying to me, right? And this is, you know, it's a balance, because some people think that they should just completely should completely disengage from anything political or cultural, and that's what people did, and that's why we're in this mess. That's not what God is saying. God is saying, when you see what's going on around you, don't make that the primary focus of your energy, because I am good, and I am the giver of gifts, and I haven't left the planet. I mean, he's in heaven, but of course, you know, he hasn't left us high and dry. And so it's important to understand that, and it's important to be a messenger of that goodness, because I mean, Lord knows we get enough negativity around us all the time. So find that balance, and then really catch yourself, and just ask for little reminders and nudges from Holy Spirit about what you're focusing on and what kind of energy you're bringing into a situation. Because if it's always, I mean, it's one thing to know what's going on, right? But it's another thing to just always be camped out there, because then you just become a part of the problem. All right. So I think that makes sense. Somebody has a question about the audits. Can somebody explain to Marilyn on YouTube what happens when the other states send delegates to Arizona? Can you guys help me with that? Because I don't want to get off track. But I think that it's important to understand that. So I think that I wanted to emphasize that. I wanted to emphasize that there's so many good things happening, and it's easy to forget that. It's easy to lose sight of that. And one of the things that I wanted to focus on really briefly, I'm not going to go into great detail about it today, because I feel like I really need to do a whole show on that. But that is that yesterday was the anniversary of the liberation of Normandy by the Allied forces. And that's a big deal, because also known as D-Day. And it's a big deal because Well, it's a huge deal, right? It's because the French would be speaking German if not for what happened there. And it was a massive, massive undertaking. And I did a whole show on this last year, and I talked about it because I've been to Normandy. And I know that travel is really tricky right now, and I know that a lot of people aren't doing it, especially overseas. But I encourage you, if you have a bucket list, this needs to be at the top of your list. I need you to go there. I want you to take your children, take your millennial Gen Zs, who think that the biggest concern that we have right now is crazy stuff like Black Lives Matter or whatever. And I want you to get. I want you to walk on that beach. I really think that if people got there and stood there and had a feeling for what actually happened on that day, and of all the elements that went into place to make that happen, I think that it would give you a much greater appreciation for what we have. Like I think it would 10x your appreciation for what it is that we have. I think it would also give you a greater appreciation for the operations that are taking place now. For those of you who keep saying, for those of you who keep saying nothing's happening, I think that I know it's super important to understand how critical the timing of operations is and how many moving parts have to be brought into play at all the same time for an operation to succeed. The landing at Normandy is a perfect example of that. I urge you to go and research it. I urge you to go and take a close look at what went into making that happen. It was remarkable that they got even to the beach, and the fact that they got up the walls. I like I said, I did an episode on this last year. Unfortunately, it was on Periscope, so at some point I need to go do that again. But I have to tell you, it's just to stand on that beach and uh, to understand what actually happened. Um, I just it's really hard to explain, but I want to urge you, if you ever get to go there, please go there. They still celebrate the Americans in that place. There are American flags flying there. So again, I don't want to take too much time, but I will say that it's an absolute travesty and an embarrassment to our country that the supposed commander in chief, his fraudulency, Faker 46, did not even acknowledge D Day. I think that that just tells you everything that you need to know about this current situation. I have no words. I have no words. And of course, last weekend was Memorial Day, and or last Monday, and it was similar. I think that because Real 45 was doing something, and because we were seeing replays of his past speeches, I think that these other clowns finally decided that they should throw something together. I mean, yeah. What do you say? There, and then to see Circleback Saki trying to explain it away. There's nothing you can. There's not you. That's your job. Like, you had one job. You had one job. If you're the commander in chief, is to commemorate the very thing that secured our freedom that we enjoy today as a nation. Like, see, I don't even, I got no words. No words. So, yeah, if you don't understand how much they hate you, if you don't get it, if you don't understand how much they hate you and your descendants, and or your ancestors, sorry, then I'm not sure. This is just another example. So I come from a long line of military. I had a great uncle who died at Iwo Jima. My stepdad, who many of you know, he had three brothers, three I believe, who were active duty during World War II. My family has been active in the military since the revolution. And so for this person to do this, I don't know. Is there is there anybody that you know in the military who could actually justify that? Or how about a Gold Star, um, any Gold Star widows, families? I'm talking about Memorial Day as well as D-Day. Any remaining veterans from that time? Imagine how they feel. Imagine thinking that you might get an invitation from the White House because you're one of the few survivors from that time, and having the time just come and go and pass without ever acknowledging even that you exist. This is what we're dealing with now. Yeah, and then we have a supposed VP who describes Memorial Day as the long weekend. It just, I don't even, I mean, I don't have any family members currently who are in the military, but even, I mean, I'm absolutely disgusted and insulted by it myself personally because it's my country. I think you all should be. I mean, they hate all of it. So, yeah, it's a travesty, it really is. So again, I'm not going to go into the details about what I've said about my trip there, but Mike B, I need you to delete that comment, please. That's unfortunately, we have people watching in the chat, and that could get my whole channel taken down. So please delete it. Even though there might be people who agree with it, I just need you to take it down. So, all right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. So now let's talk about, right. There's so many things to talk about. Let me just say a couple things about, Phony Tony. Thank you, Mike. Phony Tony. Okay. So this is very interesting because Circleback Saki is covering for him. And Circleback Saki is covering for him. And the crazy thing is that she's out there saying that he did the best he could. Okay, this is like saying, again, this is like saying that Faker 46 did the best he could by not even bothering to acknowledge that anything happened on D-Day in Normandy. That's literally his job. I mean, it's his main job, really, as supposed commander-in-chief. Crickets from the rest home up in DC. Okay. And so now she's making excuses for baby Mengele and saying that now that all of these emails have come out and the truth is coming out, he's sitting there saying that they're fake, that they're fabricated. Never mind the fact that they were actually released on a FOIA request. So does that mean that the agency fabricated them, the agency that released them through the FOIA request? These people, if nothing else, they're super good at lying, and they're just deflect, deny. That's what they do. Oh, they're fake. Because he didn't delete them like Hildebeest did. And so now he's just trying to say they're fake. And she's covering for him and saying he did the best he could. I mean, okay, let me just give you a comparison here. All right. So let's say that you are a top engineer, like the top of the top. You're the best engineer, hands down, in the world. And you're supposed to be. And you have a position of you're like the chief bridge builder in the world, and that you're the person that everybody consults when there's something that needs to be built, or when there's a problem, when there's a potential catastrophe, that you have a bridge that might be falling down. It could be, for example, the Golden Gate Bridge. Let's use that as an example. And so let's say that you are Eddie Engineer, and you literally have the highest paid government position in that department, and that you're the person that everybody calls on you when a bridge is going to fall down. And then because you've been taking money under the table from the companies that make the steel, and because you've been taking money under the table from the companies that make the steel, and because they've used substandard steel in the bridges that are about to fall down, you actually come up with a completely different narrative to cover your butt, your skinny little homicidal butt, that is going to cause havoc and destruction on the rest of the world, so that you can deflect from the fact that you took money under the table to build a substandard bridge and to approve it. This is the equivalent of what's happening here, okay? And because he everything that he was doing was about covering up the unethical, evil, completely unfounded and unnecessary research that they were doing. It was all about that, and the fact that he was getting paid, and that they had spent not just a few $100,000 to fund that lab, but somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think it was 80 million or something. So everything that he did, every recommendation that Baby Mengele made since the beginning of 2020 to Real 45, all had to do with covering up the paper trail of his negligence and sheer purity evil, and just sociopathic behavior. This is the equivalent. And so imagine being that person and being caught out and having it right there as plain as day, right in your face, and having the secretary, the press secretary for this ridiculous faux admin, stand up there and say he did the best he could. That's like when the bridge falls, saying the world's top engineer did the best he could. I'm sorry, that's not good enough. You don't give somebody a pass for doing the best they can when that's their one job. I mean, he's not 5 years old, right? He's not building something with an erector set and trying to make it stand up when you drive a toy car over it. That's when you use the term, he did the best he could, because he was only 5 and it didn't quite pass muster at the science fair. That's when you use that expression. And can you tell I'm pretty heated about this? I am, because we're not making excuses for the people that are supposed to be in the most trusted positions in our country, if not on the planet. And we come behind them and we cover for them when lives have been lost, when livelihoods have been lost, when people's businesses have gone under, when children have committed suicide in record numbers, when there have been record drug overdoses, when you've had record numbers of people in the hospital for critical care situations that could have been avoided. You don't cover it up by saying he did the best he could. That is not good enough. I think that's a mic drop. Speaking of cringe, you're not going to believe this. I don't know what happened to the comments. Did I just get deleted? Okay. This came up in my Telegram today. Somebody tweeted this out. It turns out that I don't have a name for her yet. Kamala. She was supposedly on Air Force Two. So she went, this is what somebody tweeted. VP made an off-the-record visit to the back of the plane and delivered cookies decorated with, has anybody seen this? Can anybody guess what was on the cookies that she delivered to the press pool? I just want to see in the chat. Who knows what was on the cookies? And I think this was over the weekend, like over D-Day. All right. Who could guess what was on the cookies? The hyena. Yeah, so here we go. Cookies decorated with the shape of her likeness. Okay, okay. This is like, who does this? All right. They say that Real 45 is a narcissist, but I mean, like, why? Why would you do that? I mean, unless you're Barney or something. I mean, who who can take this seriously? Can you imagine? Imagine the world leaders. Imagine the Saudis. Imagine Vladimir Putin seeing this. I got. I have so many like. There's so many moments today that have just taken my breath away. I can't even. I don't even know what to say. What, right? And can you imagine eating that, especially after she touched it? I just, I don't know. Maybe that smudge is her mask because she keeps wearing that. Yeah, I mean, like, who does that? I know, it's so embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Is this kindergarten? Are we in kindergarten here? I mean, yeah. Oh, this is on our trip to Guatemala, right? I mean, can you like what goes into the mind of somebody that sits there and thinks, "Oh, hey, I know what I'll do for the press pool. This will make them so happy. This will really make their weekend for having to fly down with me to Guatemala and miss their whole weekend and go to a third world country and sit around listening to me cackle, and I know what will make everything better. I know what will make up for all of this. I got it. Let's make cookies in my likeness, and we'll go back and I'll ham it up and laugh with all the press pool, and I'll give them cookies with my face on them. I don't know. Anyway, okay, I'm done with that. I can't. I just can't. I can't. Okay. So now let me go back. I want to go back to Baby Mengele for a minute because Scott Adams tweeted something that I thought was really good. I'm not a huge fan of Scott, but he hit the mark on this one. Okay. He said, "The next time you see a letter signed by lots of scientists, your default assumption should be that they are pushing a lie for political reasons or for profit or to cover their asses. Someday the scientific community might earn back our trust. That won't be this year." Absolutely spot on, Scott. Okay, Kakala. Oh gosh. Okay. Now, you know what I think is interesting? This was a little article that came up that a lot of people might have missed, and I want to show this to you because I think this is interesting. Do you remember when we had the gas crisis a couple weeks ago, when they tried to put everybody in a panic and people were running out of gas and the pipeline was shut down? They tried to take us back to the 1970s and all that, right? Do you remember that? And there was ransomware on the pipeline and it was actually on the software, and they could have overridden it manually. And there was all kinds of, it was crazy because it put everybody into a panic. And then it got cleared up because they paid the ransom. Do you remember that? So I had a theory about that. I said, I don't know that this was actually a hostage situation or ransomware. I don't know that it was so much that as it was that somebody needed to launder some money really fast. And this was a way to do it. Because if you remember, people have their, a lot of these groups have their assets seized. And so they can't necessarily, they don't have the cash flow that they may have had in the past. And so I think this was a very interesting article that came out by disclose.tv. I don't have a link to the actual article, but this was a headline. It said, just in, FBI tracked and recovered millions in cryptocurrency paid to Colonial Pipeline ransomware hackers. U.S. feds seized 2.3 of 4.4 million Colonial Pipeline ransom from a Bitcoin wallet pursuant to an order from a federal court. Don't you find that interesting? I find it interesting that they seized it. Because, when you see these kinds of things happening, especially if it gets solved just like that, then I think there's something going on. Now, I would like it if the FBI were as quick about other things as they were about this. It sure didn't take long to crack that case, did it? So yeah, the FBI certainly has a way of showing up when something is a priority to them. Unfortunately, they couldn't get themselves to do the things that were actually a priority to 80 some million Americans over the last 5 years, which is to, bring some people to justice over that time. But that's another topic. But however, it's kind of interesting that now they've seized this Bitcoin that was paid in ransom for the Colonial Pipeline. I knew that whole thing was a setup. That whole thing was, it smelled from the start. For example, the pipe bombs in DC. Golly gee, wonder who did that. We still don't know. How come they weren't on top of that before something happened on that day? Because they knew about it before that day. Again, I digress. Okay, let me just see where I am now. Hey, Rich. Okay, so let me go back here, and okay. Hey, listen, those of you who emailed me about superfoods over the weekend, I can't get my email on my phone. That's all I had with me. So if you sent me an email about that, just be patient. If you're needing support, I really encourage you to go to the Facebook groups. That's where you can ask a lot of questions and do searches on topics. So I'm talking to people that have already been using superfoods. I'm not in a position to do like one-on-one coaching. So I just want you to be aware of that. Always go to those groups first and ask your questions and search the topics for the answers that you need. Okay. Now, okay. So that being said, make sure that if you haven't gotten superfoods or if you want to try it, please write to me, info@marygracemedia.com, so that you can get a promo code to save over $100 off of your first order of our 30-day transformation. It's a fantastic program. I've got a lot of people that are starting during the summer. It's a great time because, it's a good time to eat lots of fresh fruits and veggies and to get your superfoods in your body. It's super easy for traveling. It's very convenient. There's all kinds of reasons. So info@marygracemedia.com. Make sure you get in touch with me on that. Now, let me get back on the topics here. The Bitcoin, this is very interesting. I'm all over the place today, but I hope you don't mind. This is rich. Now, listen, over the weekend that Fakebook decided that they came down with their edict. And they said that Real 45 cannot get unsuspended for at least 2 years, right? And then this is very interesting because in the same breath, they are... what's the country that has been banning Twitter? Is it India or is it Thailand? Oh, I lost my train of thought here. What's the country that's banning Twitter? That's shutting down Twitter? Uh, Nigeria? Where is it? Anyway, the point is that that Twitter is coming out. Twitter, Nigeria, thank you. Say so. Twitter is coming out fighting for the rights of Nigerians to have access to the internet. And the irony, this is the irony, they don't even know it's irony. This is the sad thing because they're so wrapped up in their derangement, and he lives rent free in their heads. And so they come out and make this is in the same few days that Facebook suspended him indefinitely for 2 years. They came out and said that that the internet, access to the internet, is a basic human right. And this is after the 2 year suspension. I just think it's so funny how they just step in it all the time, right? Well, he can't have it, even though I mean we banned him when he was literally in the leader of the free world. We banned him, and we cut off access of his entire constituency, the whole world. We cut off everybody from him, and we don't care about their basic human rights, which is literally the First Amendment and the Bill of Rights. We don't care about that. But golly gee dang, when a country over in Africa decides that they're going to ban one of our platforms, you betcha we're going to be standing up for human rights then. How many times have they done this? These people have written the book on hypocrisy. Maybe if they didn't have hypocrisy, they would have no principles at all, because that's the basis, that's the foundation of their principles. It's insane. It's crazy. So, okay, we're going to take away the rights, the basic human rights of 80 million Americans to hear from their commander in chief. But hey, Nigeria can do it, and we're going to be up in arms about it. I again, so many things today have left me speechless. I just, it's like this is like a parade. This is like a parade of stupidity and hypocrisy. Yeah. Anyway, what else can I show you that's a parade of that? Okay, this is very interesting. So, uh, have you guys seen Code Monkey writing about a company called Runbeck? Runbeck. Oh gosh, where did it go? I lost it. I lost the thread. Shoot. Oh gosh, it's telling me to update Telegram. All right, I might have to come back to that. So there's a company. I'm cooking today, and you're saying amen to everything. Great, thank you. All right, let me see if I can find this, because I thought this was really interesting. Maybe it's on my channel. Oh wait, Real 45 put out a statement. Oh, by the way, George did a YouTube last night, and I missed it because I was off the grid. So I'm going to have to go back and see if there was anything interesting in the chat. Did anybody watch it? Okay, I'm going to come back to Runbeck. Runbeck, a ballot printing company. Hold on. Hold that thought now, because Real 45 just released something. Okay. Oh, here we go. This is so good. Why does Fox News keep Chris Wallace? His ratings are terrible. He's almost radical left. He was acknowledged to have failed badly as a presidential debate moderator, except for Faker 46, who he totally protected, and much else. Usually, these are not the qualities for a long-term stay. Oh, there's so much that you could read into that. Last night, the comments from George News, somebody posted them in my chat. Oh, I didn't see it. Okay. Was there anything interesting? Big news coming out of New Jersey. Stacy, what do you mean? Oh yeah, you guys watch Real 45 at the convention? Boy, there's so much to talk about. Now, we can talk about that. Let's talk about somebody posted screen captures of the George chat. Really? I missed it. Let me see. Oh, here's a good quote that somebody just put in my Telegram. Thank you, Gino. It says, a fool would rather remain foolish than to admit they were fooled. 95% of Figure 46 voters are complacent fools. I think that's probably, yeah, a good, yeah, I think that's a good example. Okay. Now I'm going to see if I can find these things. What would it be? Media? Oh, I think I see them. A salute to Save America 45 this 4th of July. I'm reading the comments from that. Who else is looking forward to our salute to America this July 4th? That's interesting, isn't it? Starlink has been operational for over a year now, almost 2 actually. What can somebody explain that? Hold on, let me see. How many times has 45 referenced 1,000 years? I'll have to go back and look. Let me see. I'm going to have to go back and watch this. Oh, wow. The list of MSM media requests for credentials to attend the Real 45 rallies. Huge. Very interesting, isn't it? Plus, plus, plus. Oh, somebody was asking about what the plus, plus, plus means because Real 45 has used that before. Okay. George said, big news coming out of New Jersey. All right, now I'm reading your comments. Okay, I watched it. George said, big news coming out of New Jersey. Did you see Real 45's speech at the convention? Yes, so much happening. The energy just seems like nothing before. So much to talk about. I agree. What is George News? Can somebody catch up Vicky on Facebook on what George News is? Okay. Good to see you, Rich. Thanks for coming. All right. It was a really good 2019 D-Day celebration. Yeah, of course it was good because Real 45 was in charge. Okay. I'll have to go back and watch that. So, I think I don't know what Starlink is. I need to research that. What time is it? Oh goodness. All right, it's almost time for me to go here. So I'll be back on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. Wednesday, Thursday, and listen. Make sure you tune in this week because I'm going to be on vacation next week. I know. I don't want you to be upset, but I am going to be on vacation. And okay, plus plus plus. I'm not exactly sure. But when you go back and look at the drops, when you see the letter and it's followed by plus, it refers to himself. Okay, so to Real 45. And so I don't know exactly what plus 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 means, but it's a oh, thank you. Okay, Starlink is Elon Musk's satellite system. It is a nod to the Anons for one thing. So those of us who have been in this for a long time. Okay. What else do I need to say today? Let me just check my notes. I'm all over the place here. So thank you everybody for being patient. Thank you for just hanging in with me. I was going to talk about the Runbeck thing. Let me do that on Wednesday. Okay. Because I've got a ask Praying Medic about plus plus plus. Yeah, he's super dialed into that because he wrote 3 books so far about that whole movement. All right. Yes, I am taking a vacation. And it's one of the families per our favorite letter might be the Saudis. Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, there's a lot going on. The speech that he gave the other day was some of it was for normies, so you a little bit frustrated. The there were definitely hints that he dropped. Now, did the RSBN version of the speech stay up? Because it's definitely worth going back and listening to. I mean, it would be hard for me to summarize the whole thing because there was a lot to it. Let me see if it's still up. Let me see. Let me see if it's still up. Oh, there I am on YouTube. Okay. Oh, not that one. Oh, let me see. Oh, maybe they took it down. History. What night was it? Did they take it down? I think they took it down. Shoot. Of course they probably did. Let me see. Do they have it on Rumble? They have an app now. Oh, okay. They moved it to their website. Okay, so go to the RSBN app or website. Okay. So I know Real 45 did say that he's coming back sooner than you think. Now, there's one thing that I want to tell you about something that Real 45 said. And this is important because if you recall, if you've been watching me since that fateful night in November when everything went south, so I want you to think about something because I said from the very beginning, I said, listen, we have everything. We have every keystroke. We have everything, every file. We have everything captured in real time. I don't know how to prove it, but I know that we have it. I just know that I know that I know. And then I talked to somebody who confirmed it for me, somebody that I really trust, and that was like in December. And then now we have Mike Lindell, the pillow guy. I told you the pillow guy is going to save the republic. He is coming out with a documentary about that, and we know that the White Hat hackers working with Patrick Byrne, that they were tracking things in real time. However, I believe, and I believe that Real 45's speech alluded to this. I believe that our people were tracking in real time as well. By our people, I mean military. I mean intelligence agencies that are beyond the ones that we usually think about, the three-letter agencies. The reason that I've always thought this, and he made a reference the other day to Space Force, and he was saying something about how we have things that are ongoing. Wasn't he talking like somebody who's operating in real time? Wasn't he talking about somebody that is actually active now, or was it just me? But he made reference to to the fact that things are happening, right? And he said from the very beginning, he tweeted out and said, "We have the evidence." He said that way back. Now, why then are we waiting for the White Hat hackers? Why then do we need Mike Lindell to make a documentary? Why then do we need Patrick Byrne to put out the evidence? The reason I believe that we need this is that we could just flip a switch and reveal everything. And I don't think that would work. Because if we do that, it would compromise national security even more than, okay, we have the packets and the traffic. Thank you to the person that's using actual lingo to do with this. We have the packets and the traffic. We have it all. So if we release all of what we have, meaning our people, our guys at the government level, if we release all that, then that's going to be a huge compromise to national security because we would be showing sources and methods. And then also, of course, if it's coming from Real 45, then nobody's going to believe it, even whatever you see with your own eyes. I mean, we know that from the Wu flu because we tried to show them the evidence and they just put on another mask and said, "You're lying." And so we know that. But mainly, I think that it's to protect national security. And so what we're doing now, and what I think is happening with the audits, is that we're revealing all of this stuff from citizens. The citizens are doing the work of revealing what they have and what they found, and it has the effect of citizens revealing the truth to other citizens. So it's not just coming from the government, and then also it protects the sources and methods that we have. That's why I believe it's happening this way. That's what I think. So that's what I think is going on. Okay. If somebody's saying, listen to Bill Binney explain, if you could put that in my Telegram, that would be great. I'll take a look at it. All right. So I'm going to sign off here, and I will be back on Wednesday at 5:30 Eastern, and then on Thursday at 5:30 Eastern. So make sure you tune in, and then make sure you write to me to get your Superfoods promo code. It's info@marygracemedia.com. Summertime is absolutely the best time to get to do a reset. I mean, who doesn't like summer? And you're going to thank me. You're going to thank yourself. Do it for you, okay? And write to me, info@marygracemedia.com, so that you can get your promo code to save over $100 off retail of your entire 30-day reset. Okay, there's a lot of other perks too. So Stacy, info@marygracemedia.com. That's the best way to reach me. Just make sure you reference what you're sending, because I don't click on links that don't have some kind of explanation. And I might not remember or recognize that it's you. Okay. That's it. Everybody, thank you for all of your participation today. Thank you for my moderators. Thank you for everybody for helping me stay on track with my code words. And I think we're getting a good lexicon here of code words. I think I like Baby Mangala. I do. I like it. So I will be back on Wednesday, and look forward to hearing from you guys and to interacting with everybody. And thank you again, everybody, for being here and for all your participation.